Welcome to the Susan Lopresti Wellness Mind, Body, and Soul podcast. Today's guest, I'm super excited for. Her name is Terry Bean, and she's a woman whose life has been guided by optimism, reinvention, and the belief that magic can be found in every chapter of life. Terry has always viewed the world through rose-colored glasses, seeing beauty, possibility, and transformation where others may only see challenges. That perspective began early when she played Mother Nature in a fourth grade school play, walking onto a dark and messy stage and leaving it transformed in beauty. It became a symbol for how she would move through life with compassion, curiosity, and hope. After studying communications and marketing at the University of Harvard, Terry built a successful career spanning Manhattan, Connecticut, and Florida. She helped launch a thriving property management company, later earned her broker's license, and purchased her own real estate company. Like many, she faced the challenges of reinvention after the 2007 crash, exploring new ventures while staying rooted in her creative spirit. In 2014, Terry wrote a magical story that she knew one day would come to life. That story became Abracadabra, a reflection of her heart, imagination, and the belief in the power of perspective. Terry is in a quieter and deeply meaningful season of life, back in New York, caring for her mother. She now feels called to bring simplicity, joy, love, and laughter into a world that often feels complicated. Join us for a heartfelt conversation about resilience, reinvention, embracing life seasons, and finding the magic that's been with us all along. Without further ado, Terry, welcome to the podcast. I'm so
Thank you.
excited to have you here today.
Thanks, Susan Lopresti. I am excited to be here with you and looking forward to sharing some gems with your audience.
In reading your bio, you said that you always believed in magic and have seen life through rose-colored glasses. I think that is so beautiful, and everyone should live like that. Where did you think that perspective first came from?
It's a great question, actually, and I do get this often. And I realize that there were a couple of things. Not only me being on stage in fourth grade and being in that play where Mother Nature, dirty, filthy, horrible world, polluted, and then I end up at the end with the rose-colored glasses on where I say I never take them off. Though I really believe that it was rooted in the family I was born into. So I was born into a family that back in 63 was blended. Now it's called blended, but back then I don't even think the term was known. Right? So a blended family where I have two parents who are coming in with respective children and divorces, and then they have me and I'm their only child. So now I'm their child with just a little bit of pressure to be that sunshine child. And I took that mediating place in the family where I just wanted peace. I just wanted happiness. And I think that's where it came from, because I was always that person, that go-to in my family that just made it lighter and made it more loving and kind.
Now, you wanted peace and happiness in your family. Were you in that kind of an environment that everything was peaceful and happy, or
Oh,
you?
yeah, no, not when you have kids from other families and
Yes.
divorces. And yeah, so I would come home, and I think that's where some people, when they read Abracadabra, they go, oh, Danny is you. And I realized back in January, and this is what happens with authors, sometimes we don't even realize that we're writing about our own selves. And I think I realized when I saw Danny running from the house because the parents were arguing and she's looking for a favorite spot. My favorite spot was my bedroom. So when I got off the elevator in Queens, New York, I would listen to see if there was any kind of arguing or fighting. And if there was, first I smelled my dad's cigar to see if he was home, because I always was able to know when he was home. And secondly, or pipe, because he went back and forth. And then it was, if they're fighting, all I want to do is sneak in. All I want to do is just sneak in, run into my room, and find my happy place. And that's what I did quite often. But I was a very independent, fairly rebellious kid. I'm also in Queens,
I
New
think
York.
we're cut from the same cloth,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because
I
you're
hear the New
just
York
saying,
accent in you for
yes,
sure.
I grew up in Brooklyn
There
and
you
then
go.
I moved to Bayside when I got married 40 years ago, and I've been in Bayside ever since. But
Oh,
growing up, I was the same way. I was always in my bedroom. I would play. I had a brother who's a little bit older than me, but we had nothing in common as far as
right.
playings and stuff like. So I was always by myself. And yeah, I think we're cut from the same cloth. Anyway, you often reference that your fourth grade role as Mother Nature. Why has that childhood memory stayed with you for so many years?
I loved the teacher, Mrs. Lieber, and I still remember her name. It's not like we always remember all the names of our teachers, but I think just the experience of it. Mom always wanted me to be an actress. That was not happening because all I could think about is Brooke Shields and her mother back
Oh,
then. And
yeah.
I said, oh, my mother's going to be Brooke Shields' mother. And there is absolutely no way I'm dealing with that because I was already dealing with some overwhelming, and that's
Yeah.
what created that independence and that kind of rebellious piece to me. Yet I'll just say that it stuck with me because it was a fun experience for one, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot. It was nice to be like the center of attention in school. I mean, I go back because I'm here in Queens now, by the way, in Whitestone, so I'm down the road from you, by the way,
Yes, down
Susan.
the
Look
block,
this, down
practically.
the block. We drink the same water. But anyway, I go now to PS 193. That's where I went to school because
Oh,
I'm a poll worker. Actually, that's how Danny's name came, believe it or not, in my story Abracadabra, because a woman came up to me with her license when I was poll working and she said, "Hi, I'm Danny," with an I. And I looked at her and I said, "That's it." Now, I already had names in my head. When I first wrote the book, had a name, but I wanted to change it. And there you go. And there's the Danny name. But I stare at that little, the little auditorium now. It's like this tiny auditorium from my view and my lens now.
right.
And it's just incredible. It's really so funny how life comes full circle on so many things as you're experiencing different things through life. It's really fun. It's very
Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting. How has your optimism helped you navigate so many different chapters of life, right? Everything is unique and new people come into your life and then they leave. How do you manage all of that? How do you stay optimistic?
I got this question from a very close friend of mine, and I looked at her and I waited about 30 seconds, which, as you could imagine, is a very long time, and I won't do that here. But nowadays, 30 seconds is really long. And I just looked at her and I said, "What's the alternative?"
Very true.
So, for me personally, we're on this planet for a very short time, Susan, and we have the ability as human beings to have a perspective, no matter what's in front of us, that feels good to us. That we look at it and we create the gift out of whatever it is. There is a gift to everything. And if for some reason you can't find that gift at that moment, then instead of staying in that negative headspace, where you almost sense yourself going down, as I call that, rabbit hole and
Yeah.
spiraling out, you distract yourself. You go out into nature, look at a funny joke, whatever you can to shift your vibration and your focus, and then go back to it and refocus. and just look at it with a different set of glasses, right? Where they are a little bit more rosy. And I'm not saying BS yourself. I'm not saying press it down. Don't press things down. We all have emotions. Emotions are extremely important, but understand the emotions that feel better and go there. Understand that the people in your life that you've had falling out with, you probably think they think about you much more often than they do. That's number one. And secondly, take that finger and point it to yourself and say, okay, how can I do differently next time? Or where can I forgive myself first? And when we do that, again, we're looking at a situation uniquely different. I did that with my family. When I was 50, we had a falling out, and we all did, because it takes two, right?
Yeah.
Or three. This one was three. But we didn't speak to each other for 3 years. I have a mom that I'm now caretaking after not speaking with her 3 years ago, 12 years ago. Wow. So it was 3 years until I was about 53, and now I'm, 62. So I feel like when you take a look at the importance of relationships and the people in your life, then you take the steps that it's not about being right or wrong. It's not about that. It's about love. It's about how are we going to be kinder to each other? How are we going to be there for each other? And that's exactly what I'm looking to do with Abracadabra, yet start young. So when you have children who are 6 to 9, they don't really understand the power that they have the way we do as we get to adulthood, as we're taking the personal development track, which many of us do, and that's typically the arena that I play in. And that's really what this is talking about. So when you share with children the power that they have within them to truly create the lives that they love, and that they have that power to do that, they will step into adulthood happier, they'll be kinder, and they'll be more connected to themselves and others around them. And children are the least empowered demographic, Susan. I don't know if you were aware of that. So,
yeah, I'm thinking of that right now as you're speaking about this.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. So to do this with a child and to empower them, and you and I know things like mantras. We know things like affirmations. Kids don't know that yet. So when you get in front of them, and I have a whiteboard I work with, and I work with a puppet, Professor Wisely, and we talk to the kids about how they want to feel when they wake up. What kind of words or phrases do they want to say to themselves, right, that will make them feel great through the day? And what else can they say? And my personal mantra is everything's always working out for me. And I probably say that, I can't tell you how many times through my day.
Wow.
So I have stickers that I give out to kids. I have magic wands that I give out to kids. I have an absolute blast with them. And they're learning. So Danny, as she runs and she goes down to the lake, she then sees her image. And that image in the water becomes her sage. And it becomes a reflection that starts talking to Danny about the power within her to create a great life, to stay happy, but it's also okay when she has these feelings, and it may take a little while, yet when she thinks and she focuses in certain ways, things will magically start to happen. And I've experienced that personally in my life, and so many people have in my life that I surround myself with, because we're all on that same trajectory. And yes, we may have a goal, or we may have something we want or desire, but we don't desire it from a place of lack. We don't desire it where we're yearning it. yearning is a very different vibration. And we also don't attach ourselves to that end result. Because if you just have fun in the journey and you play with the universe, you'll be blown away at what comes to you. It's constant. It's just fun stuff. You just play with it. You're not attached. Different people, different circumstances, all these different things start happening in your life to get and yourself to that particular thing that you desire, but sometimes very different than we thought it would be.
Right.
And
the ride is different.
Yeah, making that okay, making it about the ride.
Yes.
Making it a joyous, fun ride, no matter what. I can't tell you how much fun I've been having with Mom. My mother's 92 years old, Susan. She's unbelievable. And what I've done and created in this space for us is laughter. Laughter to me, and that's the way I was when I was a kid. Laughter to me is the antidote to everything. To everything. Everything. Even when things seem serious, there's something you can just go, really?
Yeah.
In fact, let's talk about that for a second. Who told us when we were growing up that we had to be serious? Oh, you really have to be serious to be taken seriously as an adult.
Well, I think it started I went to Catholic school my whole life, and so we had nuns. So I want to say that it started then.
Yeah, even more so there probably few.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to say. All us adults have, in many ways, lost our sense of inner child. And that's the kind of coaching that I use with adults that I do as well. And it's why I can play, because I am very close to my inner child, right? And to get back to that, what happens is there's a lightness that comes up in us, and we have more fun. And that's really what life is supposed to be about, which is to have fun. So
Yeah.
I'm all about putting the fun back in.
But let me ask you something. Many people struggle with life changes that happen unexpectedly. So, how did you handle the shifts that came after the 2007 crash?
That was an interesting time. I was stuck in the best state to be stuck in, which was Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And I was literally coming back up here, and everything stalled out. And magically, I had things happen in terms of where I was going to be, who I was going to stay. Because I was literally moving in December back up here. Not that I wanted to. I didn't want to, because it was winter. Why would I want to come back in winter? If I'm going to come back at all, let me come back in the spring. Then I had a friend who called me, a close friend of mine, and said, "Hey, Terry, I heard you'd rather stick around and blah, blah, blah. I have an offer." And her offer was, "I'm going to New Zealand on January 1st. I need someone to take care of my house and my pets till March." This is before. And I went, wait a minute, can you say that again? And this is the stuff that consistently happens with me.
It's magical.
Like, okay, magic. I love this. This is unbelievable. So I waited and I stayed. And then, of course, COVID came in March. I decided to hang on there to Florida until I think July of 2020. And then I came back. And then, yeah, it was a juggle, but I have always landed, as I say, like a cat. I have many more than 9 lives. I think more recent, Susan, I had a friend who unfortunately took her life. And this is my very best friend. A friend that I looked up to, who was my go-to for fantastic, intelligent, deep conversations, and I will miss her tremendously. So, do tears come up? Absolutely. Do I allow myself those tears later on? Absolutely. But if I'm in the middle of a podcast or something, I'm not going to start to become hysterical crying, right? But if you don't think that I don't have those moments, of course I do. But you allow those emotions and then you move through. Because we're living in the now. My life is right now. My life is right now as I'm talking to you, Susan. I don't know what's going to happen when I step off this chair. So make it fun now. Be super present in everything that we do, especially when we're talking to another individual. Listen more. Look them in the eye. AI is coming up, and it's very interesting right now because I really believe it is going to cause a surge of people needing each other more.
Absolutely.
Needing face to face, needing touch, needing all these things. That we may end up yearning for. But I feel that it's really important to start now. And if we could start sharing with kids early on that other people's opinions of them are not as important as their own opinion of themselves.
That's a valuable lesson.
So,
my.
But how do you do that? So you have to build their self-esteem. You have to build their self-trust, right? And their self-talk. You have to do all these things to build that little person, right? Start building them up so they're not always in social media looking for those likes. To the outside coach, to anyone outside, to their older brother, sister, they're standing in their strength.
Yeah.
They're standing in their confidence when they walk into situations, that can possibly be even a conflict. When they start to understand that they have that power to do so and believe in themselves, it's a very different animal. It's a very different adult we'll be bringing up. That's how I feel. And that's why I wrote Abracadabra, because at that time, and it's over 14 years ago, by the way, that I wrote it, but it was like I had more cynicism around me.
I wanted to ask you about what was the deeper message behind it, and what were you hoping that your readers would take away from the book? And I didn't read the book, so I don't know. I know.
Don't worry, you'll get one. So we'll meet out in Bayside and I'll get your copy. I have one in my car for sure. So it's funny because there's the illustration book, which is just absolutely magnificently, and then I have the coloring book. And the coloring book is fantastic, where I actually do have the blurbs where kids could fill in their words or their phrases. I have a page where they can dream of what they would be, do, or have when they grow up. I'll go back to your question in a second, but I had a 71-year-old man call me 3 months ago and tell me how much of an impact this book is making in his life, because he's now dealing with rheumatoid arthritis, and they're getting into the mindset piece of how he can also self-care, right?
Yeah.
And he said, my book has come at the most opportune time for him and his granddaughter. So
how beautiful.
It's just amazing how it is spanning generations. I think when I wrote it, as I was saying, I had a big vision of some of the people that were in my life then who were a little bit more cynical, that they would start to take responsibility and accountability for their own happiness and understand that they do have that power to do that, right? And that it's a lot about what they're putting out.
Yeah.
So I think that is a lesson in the book, a lesson of how you want to think about different situations, how you want to step into a decision that you need to make, right? To stop for a moment and take a breath and actually then make the decision based on how you're feeling that situation's outcome. What can happen? What are the consequences? What's the domino effect? Right? There's a domino effect. So when we're living in such a fast-paced speed society that many people, I don't think, stop and just take a breath before they're just going. They're just making the decision, and there's no big picture thing. Wait, slow down a bit. What's the big picture here? Let's see, and are you guiding yourself from what I call the wizard inside of you? Because we all have them. But for kids to understand their wizard sooner, it could be a beautiful world. Now, Susan, you and I may not be here for when that happens, but my vision is that the kids who read my book may grow up when they're 30, 35, having their own kids, or just they left all their stuff in their parents' house, attic or basement, and looked around and said, Mom, Dad, you remember that book, Abracadabra? Where is that book?
Yeah. So I wanted to mention, because you were talking about children before and the way they're growing up today. And I have a friend of mine that I know her my whole life. So it's been a while, since first grade. And so she has a grandchild, and her daughter
Nice.
goes to work, and my friend watches her grandchild 5 days a week. And she was telling me that every morning when she gets her in the morning, the first thing they do is they say prayers together.
That's
And she
awesome.
says that, and they go through the whole family. Thank you, God, for mommy, poppy, grandma.
Wow,
And
that's great.
they go through the whole thing. And then they do the whole ritual of gratitude
There it
all day
is.
long.
It's huge.
And I thought, my God, if everyone did that with their children, the
It's
world would
huge.
be such a better place. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, I think that kids growing up are lost today.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
stuck in their phones, and it's just a whole different way of living.
It's a very different world. And listen, when I was growing up, I was bullied terribly.
Oh, wow.
So other people's opinions counted, yet because of the bullying, I think I became much stronger in myself because I had to. I had no choice. It was that or completely recoiling, which, yeah, no, that's not my personality, but I totally get that gratitude. One thing I talk to kids about, I said, when you wake up in the morning, and this is from Wayne Dyer, by the way.
I
Wayne
love
Dyer said,
him.
when you wake, I do too. He's the grandfather of it all. When you wake up in the morning, just when you plant your feet, say thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. And I have all the kids doing it. Thank you. So I never know what they're going to take away
Yeah.
from when I do one of my readings, but the last time I had such a special story where this little girl, right here in Mineola, this little girl had read my book because I had given it to her mother, but now she was going to a reading with her little sister. And in the beginning, I had just met her, so I said, so how do you like school? And she said, oh no, I don't like going to school. And her dad chimed in and said, yeah, there's a little girl who's got a stronger personality than her. And I'm like, oh, so she's bullied. That's what I would say, right?
Yes.
But he didn't, which is very interesting onto itself. Yet he said, no, she just has a stronger personality. I said, okay. So then after we read the book and such, I then have the kids who can jot down on the board what they want their phrase or their word to be, and she writes on the board, I am happy to go to school today.
Oh,
Now, when that happens, Susan, I have to say to you, I got the chills, and this happens often, and I said, okay, Tara, this book is going to make a huge difference in kids' lives. And I really believe that. So what I'm doing with Abracadabra, interestingly enough, I'll announce it here, the first announcement I'm making about it, but it's coming out soon, and I'm going to be having a website for kids that's extremely interactive called the
excellent.
innermagicclub.com. And it's going to be absolutely tremendous. It's going to have all of these activities for the kids to bring up their self-esteem. They could literally put themselves into the story and be the story. It's going to be really working with the technology that we have today to empower us. Instead of AI being something that's not empowering, there's a way to use it. We're the ones
Yeah.
that are feeding it, right? So let's
Yeah.
use it to our
Yeah.
best interest. And I
Yes.
want to do that for the kids. And the kids are at that cutting edge with technology. I'm working with a person who's been around for a long time in it. So he really has a handle on things. And we're both excited. There's someone who just met me 3 weeks ago and is impacted by the mission that he's extremely excited to do all this work for the kids. We all
That's
want to leave
beautiful.
the world a better place, and this is one way to do it.
Yes, absolutely. We need to do that. We need to
Yeah.
do that. I want to switch gears for a moment and I want to talk
Sure.
about women in midlife for a second.
Please.
So I'll consider us in midlife. I'm older than you, but that's besides the point. And so you're right now navigating caregiving to your mom. And I'm actually in the same position, but not as quite because my mom is going into assisted living.
Ah.
And
Mhm.
so we're navigating that whole process and all of that. But how does rediscovering yourself at this point, and how do you feel about seeing your mom going through her stage of life and knowing that we're the next generation to go through that as well? What wisdom can you share with women who are experiencing that right now? Because I know I am, and you are also.
So there were a couple of things that have really helped me to navigate, using the word, my life right now. Okay. As caretakers, we can take it on thinking that we're missing out on life, on our own lives, right?
Yeah.
How am I going to date right now? Who's going to date me? This kind of thing. Or you walk into your days, you care for the person that you love, you hold their needs at the top of the list, yet you have to create the boundaries and the agreements with them so they know. So it's like I got on this call right now. Mom's inside, by the way. And I say, Mom, I'm getting on a call right now. I said, so please no knocking. Because she'll just knock and say, where are the nuts? And she's just a piece of work. She'd probably sell more books than me, quite frankly. She's just so fun, but real personality. So I think it's looking at that, right? Focus on the things that you enjoy about this person that you're caretaking more than the things that you don't like, right? And the things that you don't like, try and have a little bit more fun with those things that you don't like. Because if you do, everything will just feel a lot lighter. Everything will just flow better, right?
Yes.
Listen, there's plenty of stuff that goes on with Mom and I that I'm her daughter. Come on, we all have our daughter-mother crap, right? But the bottom line is that I don't want to focus on that right now. I don't want to. When I first came into this, I did. And especially at the age of 20, 25, 30, 50, when I stopped, it was judgment. Judgment, walking in, how do you live like this? How do you think like this? I can't believe you don't think like this. All of this judgment, right? No. Mom is 92 years old. If your mom's 75 years old, I don't care what age, she's doing the best she can. She's living her own journey. Let her. And that's what I decided. My mom sits
Great
home all
advice.
day and all night watching TV. All day and night. And I sit there and oh my God, she hasn't left the house, by the way, in well over 6 months. Same life every day. Walking from the bathroom to the kitchen to the bedroom. But she makes herself happy. I've had conversations with about it. She said, listen, this is my life. This is the way I want to live. Great. That's it.
Yeah, that's excellent advice because my mom and we butt heads a lot. And she's going to be 91 in June. And the reality is that I don't know how much longer she will be on this earth. And yeah, it's a challenge.
No
But
doubt. But the
I have to stop looking at it as challenging and start thinking about it as an enjoyment and to embrace while I
absolutely.
still have her.
That's the gift, Susan, right
Yes.
there. So the gift is that I do have her. It's amazing. I just went out with her. I said, Mom, 2 weeks ago, I said, and I bought these tickets a while ago because I overheard her in a conversation. She wanted to see Just in Time in the city. And I surprised her with this stuff a lot. And I said, she grew up in Manhattan, so she used to go to Broadway all the time. And she turns around and I said, Mom, I said, it's Mom's Day, early Mom's Day. I said, you have to get dressed. This is a couple of days before I told her. I said, and we're leaving at 11. She goes, where are we going? I said, I'm not telling you. And I pulled up. She said, we're not seeing Wicked because it's in the same. I said, no, I know that's not it. Just in time. She got so excited. She had such a blast. She has so many stories. And that's the other thing. Let's be more inquisitive. Elderly people have incredible experiences to share. Beautiful, incredible experiences. Yesterday I said to my mom, this was really funny actually, that came out of my mouth. I said, Mom, do you think you can tell me some stories that maybe you haven't told me before? She says to me, I don't know. I don't know what they are. So what did I do? I asked.
Yeah.
So I asked a couple of questions, and it brought out a story in her that I had not heard before. And I have her recorded in some cases, and I will ask her again. I've been around my home where she has art from all over the world in this home as well. And I said, okay, we're going through the living room. I want to know where every piece came from. And I have a whole video.
Very nice.
Right? We have the opportunity to get to know the people in our lives, young or old, and be more interested in them. And right now we're living in a society that's very much, I want to talk about myself, I want to be the right one, I know what's on Google, I know what's right or wrong, and it's a kind of a one-up society continuously, instead of just listening and having a good time. And I think when we listen to others, we'll actually get more respect as well, right? We're not trying to talk over them. We're not trying to, and that happens also with our moms. When I have dinner with her at times, I just leave the phone in my room. I don't put it on the table.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. It makes a really big difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Terry, leave us with some final thoughts. For a woman in midlife, what do you have to say to us?
Stop chasing.
Elaborate on that, please.
Enjoy the moments we have and stop chasing, whether it's the body. But listen, I'm into facial creams. I'm into all this stuff, right? But it's the body. Oh my God, I'm not going to be in a bathing suit body. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's really, accept yourself. Enjoy the moment. Stop thinking. I think for me, it's about, I'm not trying to be someone I'm not so I can get a different response, because that's putting way too much power in the other person's pocket in terms of what they think of me. This is about what I think of myself, right? So build our self-esteem so much that this is about enjoying my 60s right now and having a blast and empowering the young and the old to think a bit differently about their lives through it with grace and enjoyment, which is an I-N instead of an E-N.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Terry.
You're
Terry, it
welcome.
was a pleasure to meet you.
As
I
always.
wish you the best with everything that you're doing with Abracadabra. It's going to be great. I know it.
Thank you
Your
so
new
much.
website. Please share that with me when it's up and functioning,
Absolutely.
because a lot of my audience are midlife women and they have grandchildren.
Yeah,
And a lot of
exactly.
them are watching their grandchildren while the moms
Yeah.
and dads are at work.
They
So,
can coordinate with me at any time. Go to terrybeanauthor.com, and if they want, and that's TerryBean, fun name to go through life with. But they can contact me there, and I'm happy to do a children's book reading for birthday parties, for anything, any kind of school. I'm happy to do that. Happy. I really have a lot of fun with it, and the kids enjoy it too.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay,
Okay.
we'll end there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan, so
Okay.
much, and thanks to your audience. Bye.
Terry, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your beautiful heart, wisdom, and inspiring journey. Your story reminds us that life is filled with many chapters, and no matter what season we are in, we always have the power to choose our perspective. I love how you've shown us that magic isn't just something found in fairy tales. It can be found in resilience, reinvention, love, caregiving, laughter, and in seeing beauty even through life's challenges. To everyone listening, may this conversation inspire you to put your own rose colored glasses on and remember that joy, hope, and possibility are always available to you. Thank you for tuning in to Susan Lopresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul. If today's episode touched your heart, please share it with someone who may need this message and be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Until the next time, keep healing, keep growing, and keep believing in the magic within you. Thank you again for listening. Have a beautiful rest of your day.